acclamation with us. Everybody do it. Let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout until we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on! Something unusual.
I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. My father, Kim Clement, carried a unique prophetic anointing that allowed him to reveal God's heart and divine truths in ways that continue to resonate deeply today. His prophetic words, teachings, and worship moments are not just history. They are a living testament to God's ongoing work. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. This treasure trove of spiritual wisdom and revelation is here for you to explore and be inspired by. But that's just the beginning. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. This is more than just a collection. It's a living resource where you can delve into prophecies and see how they align with today's world. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events. This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special: exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. Together, we can ensure that my father's prophetic legacy continues to inspire and guide generations to come. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. I'm sure everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'm seeing your comments in here. Yeah, there's a lot of places. Jacqueline was just saying this to me, reading your comment there, Strumming, about Thanksgiving. Yeah, they don't say, even at my son's school, they don't say Thanksgiving break. They say turkey. They do like Turkey Day. They won't say Thanksgiving. And I'm in Tennessee. So that's very interesting. And I also saw on there, Strumming, you were talking about Amanda Grace's book. And Amanda's book is called The Revelationary Wars. And I actually wrote a couple of chapters in that book. So please get it. Go get the book, because Amanda asked me to contribute to the book earlier in the year. And so I wrote a couple of chapters. So if you get that book, there's a couple of chapters in there I wrote. And so it's called The Revelationary Wars. And I'll see if I can pull up a picture of it. Maybe you can find one, Lou. Maybe you can find one, Lou.
if you look on Amazon under the Revelationary Wars by Amanda Grace, it's got a lovely cover. Her and I were looking at it together. Hi, West Virginia Mountain Mama. Nice to see you. And oh my goodness, we've got so many people from all over the place. Oklahoma City, Springfield, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've never been to the Dakotas. I've been to almost all the states, but not to the Dakotas. I'm seeing there Thomas Piper is in the House of Destiny chat from Anchorage, Alaska. I love Alaska. I love cold weather. I'm very happy about the weather getting colder. I've been waiting and waiting for it. And oh, look, everybody. I'm slowly making it cooler in here because the Alpha Vets made me this and gave it to me at the last Reawaken America, when we went to Reawaken America in North Carolina, the last one. And we had dinner together. A whole group of us were there. And Israel and Chris gave me this. And I was just so blessed. And so I've added Dad's, I'm trying to point, Dad's, his staff with his mantle on it. You see, now you'll some of you who have been around or have watched the videos, you'll recognize this. This is his, my dad's, and so I'm slowly decorating. But we have to do something for Christmas, because Thanksgiving, that's when we're start to decorate. I've already started at home, but I need to get a Christmas tree in here. I'm feeling very festive. And oh, there we go. That's it. It's called The Revelationary War, the epic battle against false prophecy and deception. And I have written 2 chapters of this book at Amanda's request. And so please get it. You can get it on Amazon right now. But we're really excited, her and I both, because it was her first book ever, and I contributed and helped her out with it. Someone's talking about gas at Costco, $3.99. Wow. It's 80 degrees in Fort Worth. It is 74 degrees here. So it was cold. It's been cold, and it's been getting, especially at night, it's been getting cold here again. But apparently here where I am, I'm in Tennessee outside of Nashville. It's going to be getting cold. I think Thanksgiving, it's going to rain. And then the next day is my birthday. On this Friday, I will be 45 years old. And I'm just reading your comments. Yes, on Friday, I'll be 45 years old, and it's supposed to be really cold all of a sudden. So overnight on Thursday here, the temperature is going to drop. It's going to be raining. So maybe it'll snow, Jackie. I'm excited. I'm hoping it snows. And of course, the Christmas spirit. I love Christmas. My dad loved Christmas. And so our family loved Christmas. Well, 74 is warm. Yes. Who said that? Rhonda. But it wasn't. It was cold this morning, and then through the day it's gotten warmer. Cold to me is going to be it's going to drop to 20 degrees overnight on Thursday night going into Friday. Thanks for all the happy birthdays, everybody, because I won't see you guys until after. So thank you very much. Oh my goodness, 42 in Ohio. And then your gas costs $2.80 and 88 cents in Southern Illinois. You guys are awesome. Okay, so you saw the thumbnail, I'm sure, for this. And I'm going to put this down a little bit. You saw the thumbnail for this. I called it Pootie Poo and his Pew Pews. Because Putin is, look, I can understand. This has been so difficult, this whole thing with the Russia and Ukraine situation for me, because of my dad prophesied about this. If you didn't see our broadcast that we put up yesterday on the House of Destiny, Please go watch it. It's Code Breakers Analysis. I've been doing that with Christy all summer. Christy Desfontaine, who does our Israel Update channel, has joined me on Saturdays all summer long. We gave my mom a break. And we've been covering like the election and really analyzing these prophecies because it's such a crucial time. It's not going to be like this forever, but we're doing a special thing probably through to the end of the year until the inauguration. We will be Joanne, I think you're right. I don't think Putin's going to do anything. And let me tell you why. Because my dad prophesied about world war, and he said, there will be no world war yet, because you are yet to see the manifestation of a rock in the hand of a generation. The rock being Christ Jesus is what he was talking about, and throwing the stone to slay the giant as King David did, which is why he saw Trump as this David figure who would throw the stone. And yes, Joanne, he is afraid of Trump, or I think he knows that Trump is reasonable, and the people who are in charge right now are not reasonable. I do not agree with them doing the. Okay, yes, this is what didn't your dad predict the new hypersonic weapon that Putin? Yes. So Dad saw. There's so much about Putin. I don't even have everything here to show you today. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put together a video on Putin. I decided that this morning. Pooty poo. I didn't. I'm not. I am not the originator of that nickname. Glenn Beck is. That phrase comes from Glenn Beck. Pooty poo in his pew pews. Because he's always threatening with them. Because, look, if we're going to be rational, think about what we've seen. Okay, so you had the Berlin Wall situation. I remember that. I was a little kid, and I remember when the Berlin Wall came down. And does anyone else remember when they were selling pieces of the Berlin Wall at Sears in the mall? I'm looking to see. Does anyone remember this? I'm looking at all the chat. I know there's a delay. I remember I bought a piece of the Berlin Wall, and I had it. It was stolen out of my locker when I was in junior high school. Someone stole my piece of the Berlin Wall. Yes, I had well, the thing is, I was collecting rocks and things like that because we had gone to Italy, and we went to the catacombs in Italy, and I took a rock out of the catacombs. This is where the Christians used to hide underground, and we did a tour under there, and we saw how they used to live in silence underneath the ground. And I took a piece. I don't know if I was even supposed to do that. I don't know, but I took a piece of rock out of the underground catacombs in Italy, in Rome, and I started collecting rocks and things as we went to different places. So I had a paper bag full of them, and one of the things I had in there was a piece of the Berlin Wall, and some kid at school stole it out of my locker. I don't know. Someone took it. I don't know who it was that took it either. Might have been a she. Oh, Rockin' Robin just pre-ordered Amanda's book. Yay! Thank you. That's so great. We'll tell her. Your Sears did not sell any Berlin Wall pieces. I don't know where we were because at that time, it was 1990. I was 10 years old and we had not moved to the United States of America yet. My dad would come. He would be invited to churches to speak. He was itinerant. And so he would take us with him. He would bring us with him. So it was me, my mom, and my sister Jacqueline. My brother Caleb was not born yet. Neither was Libby or Jacob. Those are my other siblings. So I wasn't bragging about anything. I was 10 years old. I might have showed my friends what I had because I was collecting it. Oh, you enjoy wearing your pink Kim Clement t-shirt. Yay, I made those. No, TD Jakes. Something happened to Todd Bentley too.
Yeah, so someone said that something happened to him this morning. They think it was a stroke.
Poor guy's probably pretty stressed out after everything that's happened. And Golden Trumpet 24 was born in 1990. So I'm 10 years older than you. So you must be 35 then. Larry had a pet rock as a kid. Bridget, thank you. We have to stop poking the bear. And this is what I was getting to a few minutes ago. So I got diverted by the Berlin Wall story because I'm still upset that I lost my piece of it. But it's kind of strange to me that they were, I mean, I guess it's not strange. It is sort of strange that they were selling pieces of it. But I guess, I don't know. It signified the end of that.
They did sell pieces.
They were. No, they were.
Selling pieces a lot.
No, I had my own piece of it. And I remember being in the mall and they were on just like when you'd walk into the department stores in the mall, there would be like a display with signs and then the bits of the rock were there. Of the wall were there in bits. And you could buy, I don't think it was very much money either. Dumber than a box of rocks. That's funny. Okay, so the problem is though, there was an agreement made between NATO and Russia after the Berlin Wall came down that they would not expand, and all they have done is expand since then. And Putin, not Putin, Russia, they weren't really worried about it in the beginning because it was like Serbia first, and then, I forget all the countries. But it just, it really bothers me because I know that, in 2014, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Victoria Nuland, they were all over there in Ukraine. And they were telling, I remember just seeing video of them telling the Ukrainians how everything was going to be great. I don't know anything Mighty Warrior about Todd Bentley. I really don't know him. I just saw on X today that he had a seizure in front of his little girls and he's in the hospital. So, America hasn't been they haven't stuck to their agreement with NATO. And so now it's been pushed and pushed. And look, when I say that, we have to remember who were the people in charge, what were they doing? A lot has been exposed to us. And I'm not making excuses for anything Putin's done or will do. But I'm just trying to get a clear view. Yeah, Putin doesn't seem to be, but my dad prophesied quite a bit about Putin and it wasn't good. And this is what I'm worrying about because no, I don't trust Lindsey Graham either. Lindsey Graham, I don't like him. Don't trust him. Or John McCain or Victoria Nuland. She was there handing the cookies out in Ukraine. Now, here's the thing. My dad, not knowing much, certainly not being a fan of communism, I know that, and he wasn't really, he grew up in the Cold War years, but he was in South Africa. So, as far as his personal opinion, I have to find it where he spoke about Putin and how he didn't really have a problem with Putin, but God did through the prophecies, and it was in connection to Israel, their alliance with Iran. I don't think I'm not even going to go there with the Trump thing because with Trump, he is trying to be agreeable with all of these world leaders and not have unnecessary enemies because the result of that is things like world war, and we don't want that. And it's all postured. It's all like you've got China, Russia, Iran, all those countries over there, and then you have the NATO and the Western Alliance and these people over here, and it's starting to, and we know we've just found out that North Korea and Iran have sent troops over to Russia. So it's being positioned. And so when I look at the prophecies of my dad's, I'm realizing, okay, this is not coming from opinion, because he even said of himself, he didn't really have a problem with Putin, but there was a problem with what he would do. And look, they went over there. You guys are talking about McCain and Lindsey Graham. They were over there and they overthrew the president. I've forgotten his name. That Ukraine had elected was taking a neutral position, so not being NATO, not being part of Russia either, so just neutral. And the American politicians went in, and this is military-industrial complex stuff. They went in and overthrew that president basically, and since then have installed Zelensky, who is World Economic Forum dude. He's one of those people. I'm sorry, my eyes watering a little bit. So the little man in North Korea is, they're allied over there. So I think, when I look at these prophecies, I'm thinking, okay, we've got to think further than the moment that we're in to try to understand what is going on. All puppets, yes. So a lot of these politicians are just doing and it's all coming down to greed. They're doing these things, and it's because of who they're working with and who they're getting money from, and it's quite concerning. Poroshenko, thank you. Poroshenko. Wait, who was Poroshenko? Is Poroshenko no? But I think Poroshenko was the one they put in after, or maybe not. All these names, it's difficult for me to keep up with everybody's names. 20th of May, 2019. Yeah, they put in Poroshenko. The guy before Poroshenko was something with a Y, and he was the one that was going to be neutral. And then that Maidan happened. So, okay. So this is what was going on with my dad. I can't even pronounce that. Turchinov? I don't know. For the purpose of what we're talking about, though, what we know is that they're pulling. You have Western politicians pulling the same tricks as they've been pulling, just sort of doing whatever they want, democratizing countries, but then those countries end up getting used to launder money through. And a lot of this has been exposed because of what's happened in Ukraine. So my dad, this is how long ago now? I can't remember the year, but it was before 2014. I think a couple of years before 2014. He started doing the boots on the ground thing. And he called it boots on the ground, and he had these boots. And he really wanted these particular boots. They were made by, I forget who made them, but they were manufactured only in Ukraine. And he could only buy them online from Ukraine. And so he gets someone who works for him to get the boots for him and order the boots, and ended up going in 2014 to Ukraine. And this is where he got the word from God. Out of the ashes will come beauty, and out of the sadness will come joy. Which means in order for the beauty and the joy, there had to be the sadness and the ashes. And you could tell that God's concern, through my dad, I could tell God's concern was for the people. Now, Ukraine has lost at least 600,000 people. I mean, basically a generation. And Russia, too. I mean, there's a lot of people who have died because of this. And, we've got to democratize. Ukraine needs to be free. And I believe that Ukraine should be free. But are they really? Or are they being used by the corrupt people who have taken over? I mean, you can see what the Biden administration is doing. I don't believe it's Biden. I don't think Biden's doing anything. Whoever is running the country right now decided to try to make it very difficult for Trump, going in, that maybe they can start world war, maybe they can crash the economy, whatever they can do before Trump gets in. It's very childish and foolish. I'm trying to read what you people are talking about here with an arrest warrant, Argentina and Hungary. Well, the sad part is all the death and destruction of that country and how it's been used by Russia and used by the West and the NATO countries. And the people there had voted for, like I said before, a president who was going to be neutral so that it wouldn't cause this global problem. And the administration, whoever's running things right now, they're just playing games, and there's people's lives are being lost. And it's just, if you were God, you would see that. You would be concerned about that. On the world stage, we've got, like, for instance, here we are talking to each other. People in other countries aren't seeing this stuff. They see CNN, number one. That's where they get their news. I'm not from here. I'm from South Africa, so I know this just from experience. They're not getting TV the way we have it. They're not getting the news the way we have it. They're not hearing from us like this. I mean, it's much better now than it used to be because of the internet and because of podcasting, things like that. But the majority of people, what they hear about us is what they see on CNN. I know my uncle David, my dad's brother, is in Cape Town right now, and he would tell you if he wants to watch Fox News, he has to look for it. It's not easy for them to see. So the only news they're seeing and the only side they're seeing and the only thing they're hearing is CNN. Now, do any of you feel that what is broadcast on CNN represents you and how you feel about things? No. So how are we going to know what Chinese people think, or even better, Russian, Ukrainian? Do we know what they really think? We have to go and look for it, wouldn't we? And then there's a language barrier, and certain things are blocked so we can't see one another online.
Yeah. Well, before I can confess to that, because before I came to the US, we used to be able to get Fox News on satellite. Once BRICS was announced, actually way before BRICS, a lot of the Chinese people were coming into South Africa, the Chinese Communist Party, and they were taking over a lot of areas, even starting police stations and stuff. All of a sudden, they canceled Fox News on satellite, and you can only get CNN or you can get BBC. But there's no other American news coming through at all. It's so hard to even find it.
So does CNN represent you? So how do we know? That's why I don't, it's like, how do the Ukrainian people feel? Of course, they're going to fight for their country because they have to. It's like the leadership puts you in a position and then you're stuck. And there's bad people in America, and there's bad people in Ukraine, and there's bad people in Russia, and there's even bad people in Israel. But that doesn't mean the whole country. That means who's ever in control of the information. I'm just reading. You are the news. So I've heard about, I saw the Elon Musk may buy MSNBC. That would be just don't trust the BBC. You can't trust any of them because everything has become so corrupted. I don't even watch news anymore like that. That's not how I get my news. And it's a little bit more work to get the news. But you want to know the truth. Like even Fox isn't great. I mean, they're much better, but they're not great. So maybe they'll get better now because of Trump. And I think we're seeing very, very quickly a change. It was almost overnight after the election. You saw things change. All of a sudden, I thought it might take longer, but all of a sudden, it's like MAGA's cool, and that's the rebellion. And so, of course, that's part of it.
You heard Putin's speech today.
No, I didn't. I didn't know he gave one. What did Putin say? Lou, can you see what Putin was saying today? Because here's the point I'm trying to make. Look, I understand what's Putin going to do. You know, they're bombing inside of Russia now. So his concern is for, as it should be, for the Russian people. So of course he's going to do what he's got to do as the leader of Russia. His concern is not America. I think the things that my dad was seeing was a little bit more to do with its effect, the effect of things done on Israel, the effect of things done on America. Right. The people that are controlling the government. So you can't just lump everything together and say that's bad, because life doesn't work that way. Human beings aren't that way. Like, there's been so much, for instance, there's been so much abuse of, someone's saying the worst country for trafficking, money laundering, the selling of babies is Ukraine, but it's not the Ukrainian citizens. Listen, my dad was over there in Ukraine, and he met some beautiful, prophetic Christian people who are just crying out for their country, just worshiping God in the midst of all of that turmoil. They are not Nazis. They are not, there are Nazis there. There is an element of that that's there still. That's still true, but that doesn't mean everybody. And so we have to try to, I'm not even sure. I kind of, today I wanted to just share the prophecies with you. So I'm going to pull that up and just, I really actually want to hear from you, because thing is, my dad saw nuclear. He said he saw some nuclear weapons and a war that nobody wanted, but nobody had the wisdom to avoid. And he was praying against it. And he saw the angel Gabriel sent to fly quickly at the time of this is just coming to my memory right now. I wish I had this video. I wish I thought of this. Gabriel sent at the time of the evening sacrifice. Putin says stock of new missiles are ready to be used. Okay, so he's trying to scare everybody that he's got these weapons. Although my dad was seeing these weapons, and Pakistan was involved. Let me pull this up, Lou. I'm not even gonna go to my X page. Just go straight to the YouTube videos. Okay, there we go. Replace screen sharing. And let's see what he saw. Okay, he was in Ukraine there. Yay. We're going to have to play this video. I mean, he's shouting at Putin. Okay, let's see. Now, I want to make sure that there we go. I'm just checking through this video because it's quite long. I just want to see which part. Let's just start at the beginning. Okay, check this out.
Russia, my spirit has moved away for a small season. Your ambition has offended me, says the Lord. Your ambition and your taste for power has offended me. Therefore, I will teach you a lesson, says the Lord. Forget all these numbers they're throwing out there. In the soil of this nation, and above and below, is enough to clear that debt and put us in a place, well, I won't say it, where we can say to, what's that group? OPEC, shove it. We've got our own resources. You've stolen from us for too long.
He's mad.
For the Spirit of God says, I will surprise you
That was about the energy.
and
though.
show you. For as I raised my prophetic voice above the northwest of India, it was because of mischievousness, anger and grief. A new territorial spirit has arisen and has fouled the nations of the earth, has fooled the nations of the earth. And God said it will continue. And they shall say, this has given us an idea. Steel jets. And your intelligence says it shall never happen since we have implemented the security since 2011. Ha! And what you have done, says the Lord, is you have ignored your reliance upon the King of life itself, the Lord your God. Now you're at my mercy, says the Lord. Search as much as you wish, for it shall come to pass that I will expose. For Russia has joined its hands to Iran, Syria, and is gathering as many nations as possible to come and strike the Jews and to strike at this Christian nation and cause you to be crippled, says the Lord. Therefore, would you like an answer? I'll show you. I told you within 48 hours. Now it is emerging. Now I will show you. And then God says, as they creep nearer, I will expose them and destroy them beneath the sea, on top of the sea, on the land, and in the air, says the Lord.
Okay, so this is when he prophesied about the Malaysian jet as well. Which, strangely enough, the Malaysian jet is come up in the past couple of years, especially the last year. Ashton Forbes on X has been posting the video of that jet disappearing. So this prophecy. Now, what I've included in this particular video, I don't think he said about the jet. Maybe he did. But it's interesting to me that all the way back then, he's seeing Russia, he's seeing Putin, he's seeing Ukraine, all the stuff he was seeing. He's seeing them joining hands with Iran, which has happened, and gathering as many nations. Now, we know the BRICS nations thing is happening, where their goal is to overtake the dollar. And Dad said that he saw a new energy, a death to debt for America, and that while those cats and dogs are fighting, America would prosper. And so those are things he saw about the BRICS nations. And then, well, let's just keep going with this. But what's interesting here is that amidst all of this, he saw the Malaysian jet. Of all of the plane crashes that he could have seen, and he never saw any, he never prophesied about other planes, he saw that Malaysian jet and its disappearance, and how we know nothing and we're not supposed to know. And now we're hearing about these secret weapons. And again, I don't have the answer. I've actually come here today to you to sort of present some of this. And then I'm actually going to I'll put it on my YouTube channel sometime in the next couple of days. So if you don't follow me, go follow me. But I'll put together just like a video where we just run everything Putin, everything Ukraine. I might separate them if they're too long, or I might just put them all together. It's difficult sometimes to do that, though, because he would prophesy about numerous topics often. Like in this one, you know, we see Putin, we see Russia, we see Ukraine, we see the Malaysian jet, we see America, we see all these different topics that, you know, because he was just seeing like so many things. But then you find out later that they're kind of aligned. Maybe not, it may not be clear all the time right away, but they're aligned. So anyway, let's keep going with this.
There are colors that I see. There are colors that I see. A maroon color with a diamond, a triangle, This group has already clothed themselves. And there is a man that has stood within them who said, we will cripple the nations. Did he not say it before? Did he not say it before the creation of man? I will exalt myself above the stars of God. I will exalt myself upon the mount of the congregation of the north. I will be as the Most High God, El Elyon, the possessor of heaven and earth. He said it before, he's saying it now again, says the Lord. That once again, within a few months, you will look and say, is this the one that fooled the nations? Is this the one that had the nations petrified? For God said, light shall shine from nations that are in obscurity now. From Ukraine, light shall shine, and I will defend that nation. And light shall shine, says the Lord, from Estonia. And they shall say, but they the troublemakers. And I will take a little child-like nation to bring to its knees Russia. This man who has stood and said, I will create the most formidable, exquisite terrorist group on earth shall be exposed, but I will pull his pants down and show you what he really has. Nothing. He is impotent, says the Lord. Therefore, as you pray this week, I will show you, and God said, I will be glorified, and I will bring down the enemy before your very eyes, says the Lord.
Okay, you can put me back up there, Lou. So there's that part. I'm seeing people talking about the 13 families. Okay, right. So he brought up the one. Now it wasn't on this. It was a year later, almost exactly. He prophesied about the Malaysian jet again. Then he brings up this terror organization again. And that's when he got the name Mashugalair. Mashugalair. I wonder if I have that somewhere that I could pull it up. Probably not right now. But you guys I've played it for you guys before. And he said that name, Mashugalair, and this terror organization. And they are in the maroon color. And we've talked about this before. It was a long time ago because I was looking at the Khazarian mafia stuff. I'd never heard of it before, and so I started looking into that. And I don't know. I don't know what to think. But these are some of the things he saw. And then, of course, Estonia as well. So anyway, let's listen to this a little bit more. So beautiful, isn't it?
Thank you. There is a veil that is being torn, rent. the sound, says the Spirit. The sound of fear, the sound of detriment. The upper regions of India, Pakistan, where they found the one that terrorized the nations, Usam. There is mischief. They are plotting, planning, putting together pieces, taking them apart, putting them together. Something so unique. That the princes of Persia, the Balkan territories, the activity of demonic power and principalities is at high alert. They plot, they plan, and God says, I have kept the nations wondering. They said, we know, we have intelligence, we have equipment, we have the best.
I know.
What do you have to find a jet? What you need to look for is how they plot and plan against Israel, India, yes, against this nation, as you know, Canada, Great Britain. Now listen, the Norwegian territories, Scandinavian territories, Estonia. What are you doing? There are those praying, and demonic powers are terrorized. Now, in the month of April, to open, I will expose and I will catch them myself. And terrorism shall take a turn, and they shall say, now we have them, but do you really? For I hear the prayers of my saints, and they are Daniels that are praying and fasting this very hour. And therefore, the battle in the heavenlies is raging and will rage for another 18 days. Look to the 14th of April, and there shall be shiftings that'll take place. But know this day, says the Lord, I am the ruler of this universe, and one prayer of a saint can move my hand, and it has, says the Lord. Come on.
Okay, so that's going to go into December 13th. The next prophecy in this video sequence is December of 2014. December 13th of 2014. And that's where he actually, I will play that for you guys again. I see that there's a lady in the chat there trying to challenge my dad. You guys, I saw that during the thing. I had to laugh at that. Yeah, he's no longer alive. What's her name? I won't say her name. I don't want to do that to her. It's okay. We forgive you. It's all right. He's not here for you to challenge him anymore. If you want to challenge me, you can, but I am not prophesying any of this stuff. I'm just looking at it because he's been right about everything so far, and this is a little bit of a challenge because we know that I understand Putin in this moment, in this situation. Someone in the Rumble chat was talking about what Clinton did, starting the expansion east. Originally, Russia wanted to be part of NATO, and the West needed a big bad guy. So that's true. And that just continued and continued. And so, even, Afghanistan, it was like Russia was kind of cool though with it because they understood. They were like, fight terrorism. But things have um it was like he was seeing pieces of things, which is how he always saw, and he didn't always understand everything he was seeing, and sometimes he understood more than he said too. But he saw this weapon. He saw Pakistan. Now, this isn't the first time he's seen Pakistan. There's other prophecies I have where his hand was burning. Do you guys remember that one where his hand burned like that? And he said, "Is this nuclear? What is this?" That was the one where he saw A and Q. And so, thoughts on Mandela effect. Oh, don't divert me. I'm so interested in Mandela effect because I've had my, okay, you know what? I will divert. I will digress. And not divert, it's wrong word. It's digress. The scientist on the Malaysian flight. No, the Malaysian jet he was prophesying was the one that disappeared. In 2014, that Malaysian jet disappeared. And he kept shouting, "You don't know and you're not supposed to know." And, in the past year or so, I think it's over a year now, Ashton Forbes came across this video footage, and some people say it's real and some people say it's not real, so I don't even know. But that plane disappears, like 3 now, I don't think it's aliens. I don't think it's that simple. But although that's not simple at all, but I don't think it's aliens. I think that there is technology, probably weapons and things that our military and intelligence know about that they don't want our enemies to know about, so we can't know. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad either. I don't know. But it was on the same date in March that we were just watching, where he had the brown mantle on, and he was saying about we just watched it, but that was where he was prophesying about that, and that prophecy starts out with him saying, "You know nothing. You know nothing." And they're not aliens, right? They are demons. Someone just said that. That's absolutely right. I watched a thing last night where this man who had done all this research on alien abductions, and he found that he was saying the same thing. He was saying these are not, they're interdimensional beings, demons. And that a lot of people that have the abduction experience, if you look into their history, they've been opened up to that in some way. And you guys know we've talked about not Anton LaVey, the other guy. Oh, I can never remember his name. The Called Up Lamb. Aleister Crowley. Called Up Lamb. And Lamb looks like a little gray alien. It was after he opened that portal and doing his whatever he did. And this being comes forward. It looks like a little gray alien, and it called itself Lamb, Lam, not Lamb. So, but the Malaysian jet thing is somehow connected to the weapon stuff. And we're seeing Putin, and he's got this weapon now that the ICBMs, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile System. There's Lamb. No, I know about the scientists. Yes, I forgot to get back to that. Yes, so there were the scientists that died in the very suspicious how they all died in the plane crash, and they had cures for things, and so terror too. Yes, somebody's saying about the terror, and they've trained pilots and have trained pilots to attack, to plunge, to steal. So that's part of the prophecy too. Like I told you, there's so many. Sometimes with some of these prophecies, like so many different topics come together, and you're like, how are they connected? And you can connect some of it and not all of it, and then later, then it all connects. Like February 22nd, 2014. That's actually a really significant date with the Ukraine thing as well. But he was prophesying. He prophesied about the 2 terms for Trump. Not 2 terms. The 2 impeachments, the Supreme Court, and Roe v. Wade. about the scales removed from eyes. That all happened on that day. And now when we look back at that day, you can actually see it's like a timeline of events. It's very interesting. Eventually, I will actually put these prophecies together to where it tells the story through prophecy, because I can actually do that. And I'm starting to see that I can, which is going to be so interesting. But we're not there yet. So as soon as it's doable, I've actually already started doing it. So where you can go back and say, okay, where he prophesied about the inoculations, which is the vaccines, where he prophesied, and he prophesied that a year before they made SARS-1, which was actually manufactured. It was made or created, however they do it, at the University of South Carolina in 2002. So Dad prophesied it in 2001. It's not even in our database. I found it randomly on an album he released after 9/11 called America on Her Knees. And I bet you we could go all the way back to 1996 when he prophesied 9/11 and track this story. And he always said that it would be that way, that it would be all the pieces, all the prophecies would be like little pieces of a puzzle, and that one day we would be able to put those pieces together and see the picture. And that is exactly what I'm experiencing with you guys. Right. If Putin wanted to, he doesn't really want to. The thing about it is that, historically, Kiev, especially, that's special to the Russian people. And so, I don't think he's going to do anything. My dad said no World War III yet. And I think that praise God that we have Donald Trump. Because if Donald Trump wasn't about to be president in 50 something days, Putin might be acting a little differently. And so I think that because they know, and I know Elon Musk and Donald Trump have been talking to him, and they were, I know a day or two ago, they were meeting with the head of NATO at Mar-a-Lago. Probably over the phone, but Trump is working on this. And one thing I know too is that Trump is really scared of nuclear war. He does not want that. That's his biggest concern, especially after being president. Like, I've seen him in interviews. I'm sure you guys have seen it too. He's very concerned about nuclear war and does not want that to happen. So he's really, for his own, he's really going to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen. If that means that, he's got to, make nice, okay, Putin maybe is more understandable than, Kim Jong-un, but he's going to appear strong. Yes. That's why he handled Kim Jong-un the way he did, calling him Little Rocket Man, you remember? And it was like, everyone was like, oh my gosh, he's going to do. But you know what? He handled him just right, because he knows how to handle that kind of person. And that's why God has given us such a gift in Donald Trump. And I'm so grateful for that, for all of that, because God knew the pickle that we would have ourselves in right now, and that we would need a way out, because there too many crooks have taken control, and we the people have we have really had to fight, but we have said, no, we are not allowing this anymore. We've got the Department of Government Efficiency, and we've got an incredible group of people that Trump is starting to put together, a team of people, and we like it because it's much more open, to infinity and beyond. That's right, strumming. You always make me laugh, and God is in control. That's so true. But what were you saying? You were saying something, and I wanted to actually what people are saying, because I want to know what you guys. I'm going to be going back and looking at the comments, because I can't see all of them. They go fast, so I can't see all of them. The Iron Dome. I'm seeing someone saying that Trump talking about building us an Iron Dome. And Little Kim, the funniest thing with Little Kim was that time. You know how Trump is about appearance, and Kim Jong-un is overweight. And it was when he went to North Korea, and then they were there together, and they were going to take a picture. And Trump looks up with like a little naughty smile, and he says, everybody looking slim, nice and slim. Oh my gosh. He's very bold, but that was very funny. But you know what? We would rather they're not fighting with each other and then blowing each other up, and then all of us have to deal with the repercussions of that. We would rather they are cordial and can, keep us out of world war, nuclear war. We don't want that. If there's nuclear war, nobody wins. And Putin knows that, and Trump knows that, and even Kim Jong-un knows that. That's why nobody's used them. Yes, the Uniparty is still in power, but it will be dismantled. I believe that because my dad saw good things for us. 2027, he said he saw as being this most incredible year that he said, I hope I live to see it, which was also very sad to me. And yesterday was the anniversary of his death. So it was a very sad day yesterday, especially for our family. You don't really know what to do, you just try not to think about it. I'm redoing my daughter's room, so I was just cleaning in there and thinking about it and trying to watch stuff that I didn't have to think about it. I was so sad because it's been 8 years since he died. And, I just didn't think how long that's been. I mean, how long did he do the Den? 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15. He only did the Den for 7 or 8 years. So I've been doing this almost longer than he has, me and my mom, than he did on the internet, not the ministry part. He did that for 40 years, but being on the internet and doing the network. So the illegal immigration situation. Well, listen, okay, you want to know about that? I am an immigrant. I was born in South Africa. So was my mom and my dad and my sister Jacqueline, who's here, and my cousin Lou, who's here. And we immigrated here legally. We moved here legally. We did it the right way, and it was a lot of work. And one thing I do think is maybe they could make that easier. Because I don't know, it's just, oh, I'm sorry, Sue. He was 97. Well, that's great. Oh my gosh, he lived almost 100 years. Oh, he's getting a nice break now in heaven. But it's still sad for us left behind. I'm sorry, Sherry, about your husband. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, the thing is, it's difficult because they're okay. Especially like my dad, I knew he was a Christian. God loved him, and took him home. And I know he's good, but we miss him. This has been so hard to do this without him. Because here I am, I've got to go over these prophecies. I don't know what he was thinking that day. I was, 2014, I had just had my second baby in a row. I had 2 babies back to back. There I was. I wasn't sleeping. I was just walking around in a daze because I had these 2 babies and I just had to. So I wasn't talking to him about what he was prophesying. When I saw him, it was like, here's the baby. He didn't want to talk about that stuff too. He wanted to hang out with me, So for some things I might know if we had a conversation about it, but not everything. The Fourth Reich stuff I definitely do because he sent me to Europe in particular. Without him, I remember saying, why don't you just come with us? And he said, no, you have to do this alone. And he sent me to Europe. I mean, I wasn't alone. My husband was with me, and so was our ministry team. My Uncle Johnny was there. We all went. But Dad didn't go, and nor my mom. And that's where I found out I was pregnant, too, on that trip. So there's so much significance to that trip. It was 2012. And we went to... cell phone heats the hand. That's right, Club of Rome. And the burning in his hand. And the angel Gabriel was sent quickly at the time of the evening sacrifice. I think there's something to that. Because there was one time he was praying and he saw certain regions of America Saw the Rocky Mountains and certain states, Florida, Louisiana. And then all of a sudden he shouted, "You shall not strike at them." And he like prayed against it. And I always think about that when I think about war and people attacking America. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. I don't know. I'm not trying to scare anybody either. I actually have a very hopeful message, which is there's not going to be a world war yet. But the angel Gabriel, that's right, Joanne, was sent to fly swiftly. That was the word he used. Fire and water. You guys remember. Robin Bullock. Robin Bullock is so awesome. Robin and Robin. His wife's name is also Robin, which I think is so cool. And they are just they're wonderful people. They really are. They really are great people. Nazism and money laundering in Ukraine. Now that's the thing. And Dad saw the Fourth Reich. Now, I'm reading that off Rumble. I can't read your name. My eyes are bad. Oh, I see. Right. So he saw the Fourth Reich. He saw it fall. He saw a short war. This is the other thing. In the Fourth Reich prophecies, he's in Paris and he sees a short war. He tells them the first time he sees the Fourth Reich, he's in the Netherlands. Now, we just saw all the Jewish people who were attacked in the Netherlands, right? So that's one little ding, ding, ding. And then you have the Paris. Oh, let's play it. Can you play it? He's going to play it. Let's watch it. In Paris. So
But Europe
Mais en Europe,
will be affected
l'Europe sera affectée.
in the same way that Daniel was praying.
Et de la même façon que Daniel a prié,
There was a war in the heavenlies.
il y a eu une guerre dans les lieux célestes.
Prince of Persia.
Et le prince de la Perse,
There was a battle going on,
il y a eu une bataille qui a été,
as there is today.
comme il y a aujourd'hui.
And France
Et la France
shall join forces
va joindre ses forces
with Great Britain
avec la Grande-Bretagne
and some other nations.
et avec d'autres nations.
There will be a war.
Et il y aura une guerre,
It shall be a short war.
une guerre courte.
Hear me, please.
Écoutez-moi bien,
This war,
cette guerre,
and I'm not talking about a spiritual war,
et là je ne parle pas d'une guerre spirituelle,
a war will take place.
il y aura une guerre.
It shall be short-lived,
Une guerre très courte,
because as France
parce que comme la France
destroyed the power
a détruit le pouvoir
of invasion
de l'envahisseur
from the Middle East
et des envahisseurs du Moyen-Orient
in the 7th century,
dans le 7e siècle,
so shall it rise up
alors la France se lèvera
and destroy the invading forces
et elle va détruire aussi des forces qui
from
vont
the beast of the
envahir,
east,
qui viendront de l'Est,
and they will overcome
et nous allons vaincre,
an agreement
et nous allons vaincre un accord
between Russia
entre la Russie
and Iran,
et l'Iran,
and they will only win
et nous allons seulement vaincre
because I placed this house
parce que j'ai placé une maison
on the soil of France,
sur le sol de la France.
and because of your words,
Et à cause de vos
the
paroles,
battle shall be won in the
la
heavenlies,
bataille sera gagnée dans les lieux
says
célestes
the Lord.
de l'Éternel.
So, Kim, we don't want the war. Too bad.
Ah, je ne veux pas faire la guerre, tant pis.
There shall be. Now, don't get frightened.
Il y aura. Maintenant, n'ayez pas peur.
We have an enemy that wants to invade.
Nous avons un ennemi qui voudrait bien envahir
Take Christ out of Europe.
afin d'enlever Christ de l'Europe.
The voice of the
Sitting on the front row here
Ici, dans la rangée de devant,
is a pastor from the Netherlands
nous avons ici un pasteur de la Hollande
and a pastor from England.
et un pasteur de l'Angleterre.
They represent the soil
Ils représentent le sol,
and the territories.
la terre,
God is going to pour out His Spirit.
où Dieu veut répandre de son esprit.
Germany will be included,
L'Allemagne sera inclus,
Italy,
l'Italie,
There shall be a great move of the Spirit.
Il y aura un grand mouvement de l'esprit.
It is literally the next reformation
C'est littéralement la prochaine réforme
that will come about
qui va arriver
because of reconciliation.
à cause de la réconciliation.
And the Fourth Reich
Et la quatrième Reich
shall be overcome.
sera vaincue
For the hatred for the Jewish people
car la haine contre les Juifs
and the people of Christ
et contre le peuple de Dieu
is causing demonic rage.
est en train de provoquer une rage
But
démoniaque.
God,
Mais Dieu,
but God
mais Dieu
has made a declaration.
a fait une déclaration,
One word
une
out of the
parole,
mouth of these people,
une parole qui sort de son peuple,
and the battle shall be won.
et la bataille sera gagnée.
That word
Cette parole,
is Yeshua.
c'est Yeshua.
Jesus.
Jésus,
Jesus.
Jésus,
Say his name.
dites son nom,
Say his name.
dites son nom.
Someone in there is saying, is Macron more trustworthy than Putin? And no. Macron, I'm not a fan. So you see, but look, whoever is, representing in the moment, they're a bunch of crooks right now. Someone in there was saying how NATO is too big. I don't even know. What I do know is, and this is what I want you to feel encouraged about, is that he ultimately saw a short war, but he said, don't be afraid because it's going to overcome this agreement between Russia and Iran. And look, no matter what, this was dangerous. He was seeing this as being a very bad thing. Stromer, is that how you say his name, from England? Now, the thing is, in 2015, which was, how long ago? Yeah, 2015. I have to think about it for a second. 2015, in the beginning of 2015, he went to England and France again and prophesied about this again. And this is when he saw the crescent moon with the star and a cloud, and then the cloud of Christ coming over it. He saw in Ukraine, out of the ashes will come beauty, and out of the sadness will come joy. And I mean, maybe that is, I mean, look at the war that they've been going through over the last 2 years. There already is ashes and sadness in Ukraine. So, and then all the corruption that's there, and then the things that just needed to be cleaned up, because when they did try to become a democracy, and this happened to a lot of those countries, is that the oligarchs came in and just took over. And so that has to be solved as well. And, he saw some things about Putin that are concerning. And like I said before, it's, maybe not what Putin's done, but what he will do. And we have to remember this is prophetic. So it wasn't his opinion. He was prophesying what he was seeing, and his track record is really good. And so if he's seeing these things about Putin, now what he eventually saw about Putin was that he would die by the sword in his own land, and it would take a servant's broom to clean up the webs that he'd woven. And that God had hardened his heart like he did for Pharaoh. Which was ultimately what pushed the Israelites out of Egypt and ultimately to the promised land. So we've got to think bigger than like this. Try to like Google Earth it, zoom out and look at the longer span of time, how these things would look. And then if you have these little lights that my dad's given us, it is very hopeful. And again, like I was saying before, he saw 2027 as being an incredible time. He saw healing for brain disorders and injuries, Alzheimer's, autism, that these things would be cured, cancers. He saw cancer as being a thing of the past. So there is a breakthrough coming. He saw a new energy that would come from that the earth would yield of its produce. And there's something connected to eruptions and earthquakes and things like that, that would reveal the earth would give a new kind of energy, and that's really the big thing. And this would get America out of debt. The death to debt. He kept going on and on about death to debt, death to debt. And that as a result, we would have death to debt, and we would not need to worry about the BRICS nations and what they were getting up to, because America would prosper from this new energy. So this is like in a nutshell what he saw. He saw, Putin, like I said, going. He saw Putin going back to his own land, and that he would die by the sword in his own land. And later, he saw Russia extending a hand, but that there would be a betrayal, so that to America, and that when America took the hand, that there would be a betrayal and a decapitation. So I don't know what that is about, but I know that hasn't happened yet. Trey Smith. I almost had him on today. Scott's asking about Trey Smith. Trey Smith, I actually haven't spoken to him in a while. I need to call him. And I almost had him on today, but then I decided to just come on alone because we're so close to Thanksgiving. But I'll probably have him on when we come back. So we're running out of time here. So let me give you some updates on what's going to be happening. I'm not going to be live next Sunday because Thursday's Thanksgiving, Friday's my birthday. And so I'm going to take that weekend off. And so I am going to pre-record with Gabriel Babin, who you guys have seen a couple of times this past month with me. And his dad and my dad were best friends. And Gabriel and I, we keep getting distracted by other things happening when we get together on the show. But we originally had wanted to do this study on Moloch that he had done. So we're going to do that. And we're going to film it. We're going to pre-record it, and then we're going to air it on Sunday. So I will not be live, but there will be a Code Breakers for you guys. Strumming, it's so interesting you would ask me if I would ever interview Robin Bullock, because I was just thinking this morning I was going to ask Robin Bullock if he would come on and talk to us. And I think that would be a fantastic idea. So I talked to the Bullocks. I know them, and I will reach out to Robin and see if he'll come on here and talk to us. And then we can ask him questions and see what he thinks about some of this stuff, because that would be a very interesting conversation, I think. So I will try to arrange that. And I saw somebody on there said, your daughter is also autistic. My son is autistic. And that's very interesting, too, is that dad prophesied about healing for these things. He died of cancer. When he got sick, not long after that, my husband's grandmother died. And we took his grandfather in, and his grandfather, Pop, lived with us for years. He passed away in 2021, but he had Alzheimer's, and we took care of him with the Alzheimer's. So I've experienced it right in my home for years. I took care of Pop, and I know all about Alzheimer's and what it does. And I know all about autism and what it does because my son is autistic. And I know all about cancer because it killed my dad. And so it is personal for me. And I think God has allowed that. Let me tell you, my son, he's amazing. He's autistic, but he's not a severe case. And he is just such a creative and amazing child. I'll have to let him say hi to you guys sometime. Bring him on and let him say hi to you. And he can tell you about whatever he's into. He loves Alice in Wonderland right now. And he is all about the Queen of Hearts. And he's a very creative little boy. His dad's an artist, so he's also a very good little artist. And he creates out of paper and straws and tape. He's easy to please, and pens, markers. And he creates 3D things out of paper and straws. And right now it's the knight in shining armor. He's really into that, and he's making knight helmets, big ones out of paper, and draws them and tapes them together and then puts it on my head, and I have to wear it, and I have to be the knight, or he does that. Or he creates these things, and he's fascinated with the skeletons, and he knows every single bone in the human body and what its name is. I don't even know this, and where it has to go, and he can actually construct an entire human skeleton for you. It's amazing. He is an amazing little boy, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm so glad he's mine. And I don't I'm glad he is just how he is. Because the only problem we had with him was he couldn't really speak, for God, he was 5, 6 years old, and he wasn't speaking at all. He's got a few little sensory things, but it's not bad. It's just, he doesn't wanna brush his teeth, but like all kids. Um, and so we have to I brush his teeth for him, and he doesn't like it. So he's got a little bit of sensory, and there's certain things, like if people sing out of key, he is very intolerant of it. But I mean, look at his grandfather. He had perfect pitch and was this incredible musician. So if you sing, you better know what you're doing, or he's going to start shouting at you to stop singing. And he's very loving too. He looks you in the eye. He'll cuddle, but not too much. When he was a baby, he's 10. Deborah's asking. He's 10, and then my daughter is 11, and she has the most beautiful singing voice. I've put her in music lessons, and she's learning piano, and she's learning to sing, and or she's taking voice lessons. She's got her singing voices. I can't sing. So she inherited, and my dad would have just loved it. When he prophesied over me when I was pregnant with her, he never prophesied over me, but he did. I was pregnant with her, and he said, "You have created a sound." That's what he said. And she is certainly that. I mean, she just belts out Adele and Mariah Carey. Right now, it's been a lot of Mariah Carey because the Christmas music. Just beautiful. I mean, incredible voice. So I said, okay, we've got to put her in lessons. So we've got her having voice lessons. And, something I've heard is that, there's certain things that can help. I'm seeing someone talk about that in there with autism. And I've heard ivermectin, actually. So I've been looking into that to see if that'll help him out. But he's doing really well. I've heard this, yeah.
Great idea. I think we should all do it.
We should all do a heavy metal detox. I think we need to do some detoxing. You know who's got me thinking about this is RFK Jr. Because I've been listening to him and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this. And God bless him. And he said, for all his, people are always like, oh, well, he's his stance on abortion and things. People's hearts can be changed, if we approach it. The people around, God puts the right people around him. Hopefully it opens his eyes and his heart. But nobody's perfect, and everybody's not going to get everything right. But for this particular area, I think he's the right person to deal with, because he's been saying about autism and vaccines for years and years. And I didn't know about any of this stuff when I had my kids. But yeah, strumming, parasite cleanses, heavy metal detoxes. My grandmother was always, well, we lived in South Africa, and I think there was someone from South Africa in here. Karen, lost both of your parents to cancer. Your dad was 59. My dad was 60. And it was a brain tumor, and then it metastasized to the lungs and tailbone. And it was a very rare cancer he had. That's why I think it's suspicious. Actually, Lou, can I share my page one more time before we go? I'm going to screen, not that one. Yeah, that one. Oh, no, you got it. You got it. This is December 3rd. It's about to go into December 13th of 2014. Listen to what he says, okay? 2 weeks after that, the tumor started growing in his brain. It's very rare, called the spindle cell sarcoma, which normally, if anybody is familiar, you're going to know this. Normally, it's animals and children who get this in their limbs, and he got it primary in the brain, which I think only 50 people that's ever happened to, so it's very weird. And it started growing in January of 2015, and the doctors told us that they knew that because they measured the rate of growth. And so he had a stroke in September of 2015, but the tumor began growing in January of 2015. That's 2 weeks after this prophecy I'm about to play. So watch this.
Before I do anything else, this drew it out of me. I'd been in all week. I've been carrying this, and I was carried above a table with Putin and 4 others. I saw them writing things which I am not permitted to speak now. Otherwise, I won't be alive next week. I am not permitted to speak this now, but there will come a point when I can share it with the right authorities. And I will do it. And I will do it as I go to Israel. That is my duty. That is what He called me to do. I need your prayer. I need your covering. Jane needs your covering. My children need your covering. Our team needs your covering. Prayer covering for protection. This is no small thing, people. It may seem like a small building here, but there are literally millions that are watching all over the world at some point in time. And not many of them are friends. Many of them are great enemies. Lord, I pray for a banishment.
I'm going to keep going with that. You can bring me back. You can take that away now, Lou. You can stop that. We're done. But so you see what I'm saying? So that's December 13th of 2014. Then 2 weeks later, and I know in that span of 2 weeks he went to Israel, and I don't know if he told anyone what he saw. I think he did. And that the tumor started growing in his brain in January. By September 7th, which was Labor Day that year, he had a stroke, and then he was okay. We didn't know it was a brain tumor, and they said, oh, it was, the doctors were saying it's from his blood pressure, and he had a hemorrhage because of the blood pressure. They couldn't see the tumor. Well, they couldn't even look for it, because when he had the stroke, if they're doing MRIs or scanning the brain, it had hemorrhage, so there was blood, and wherever the blood touched, it damaged. So he lost the use of his right side, but he could still speak. Then on Thanksgiving Day, so we're having a lot of anniversaries coming up. Thanksgiving Day of 2015, he had the second stroke. After that, he could not speak anymore. I never heard him speak again, except for he said my name once, just a few months before he passed away. Then he had another stroke, and then by the time he had the fourth one, which he was in the hospital when those two were close together, they had to remove a portion of his skull because they needed to allow for swelling. And when they did that, they saw there was a soft tissue. It's not a hard cancer. It was a soft tissue, so they couldn't see it. And they were able to. My mother took him out of the hospital he was in, took him to UCLA Medical, and the doctor there was able to remove the tumor successfully, but the cancer metastasized. And so he did predict his death, but not outright. It was like there were things like that. Or he said when he prophesied about Billy Graham and Oral Roberts, he said when both of them died, he said when Billy Graham and Oral Roberts and this prophet die, something like that, he said, a veil would be rent. And yeah, he was too young. He was only 60, and it's hard for us as a family because we miss him. And you know, I've got my kids; they're growing up without him. They have to watch videos of him. I mean, my daughter remembers him. My son was a year old when he had the stroke, and 2 when he died. And so, you know, it's like my sister Libby's going to be getting married, and he's not here for that. So it's been very sad. But I want to say something.
Yeah, remember your dad also prophesied he saw himself as an old man with gray hair. And when your dad got really sick, he looked older.
Yeah, he did.
And his hair went
He
gray.
looked very old.
And so he kind of saw himself, but he didn't really see.
Well, I mean,
what it
can you
meant.
imagine seeing your own death? You wouldn't
Yeah,
be able
so
to
he just saw
easily look
himself
at
as
that.
an old man with gray
And
hair.
just because he was a prophet doesn't mean he wasn't
No.
God. He was a prophet. So
Yeah.
he knew what God allowed him to know, and saw what God allowed him to see. Well, he probably would have tried to stop it, and so would we.
Yes, exactly.
And so we have to understand God's will. And so, anyway, everybody, I'm running out. I can't even speak. I've run out of time. But I thank you for joining me today. I really want your feedback on what do you think about Putin? What do you think about some of these things that we're looking at? No, I won't do the books. They know. Look, there's this one and this one, The Daily Light and Prophetic Revelations, a collection of letters from Kim Clement. Now, when you give an offering of any amount, we're going to send this to you for free. This one, $25 or more. This is our new release. They're incredible. These are all written by my dad. And it's stuff he wrote, but not for a book, but we put it into book form. So we did a devotional and a book. And so if you give an amount of any amount, we're going to send you this one. Just use the QR code on the screen. Or if you don't want to use QR code, you can go to our website. Just make sure you click the banners so we know to send it to you, because we do want you to get something out of this. And then, of course, this is $25 or more. And please join our partner program if you can. It's only $7 or more a month. It's up to you. But $7 a month, you have access to our updated Prophecy Vault. The QR code, again, is there. Or you can just go to the website, kimclement.com, houseofdestiny.org. Go to the website and then sign up for our partner program if you can. Because what we're doing is building up the database and collecting these prophecies so they're easy. Like, we already have the database where you can do keyword searches, but we've upgraded it in the partner side. But we also need to digitize. There's things we have on video that we have not been able to watch because we have to digitize. And so some of it's TBN, like big tapes. Like, we've done the DAT tapes and we've done the DVDs and we've done the cassettes and we've done those things. But there's other formats. I don't even know all of them. And it's expensive to digitize them. And so, and to build this and then to keep this going. And so that's a way that you get something out of supporting the legacy of my dad, and sort of have something that people can look back, and we've completed it and it's there. And then, for generations, people can look back and say, this was Kim Clement. This is what he prophesied. This is what happened, and be a part of that with me. And so that's why we've done this way with the Prophecy Vault. And so I encourage you to join us on that if you feel led to do that. And again, next Sunday, I will not be live, but we will have a broadcast for you on Sunday. Gabriel's going to come in. We're going to pre-record it on, I think, Tuesday. And it's all about Moloch. And he's done a Bible study on Moloch. And he's going to go through what God has shown him and what he's found using the Bible. And so it's going to be really interesting. And so don't miss that next Sunday. Again, won't be live. But just 1 week, and then maybe I can get Robin Bullock after that to join us. And again, thank you, everybody, for your input and for your prayers and for your support. And hit the like button, subscribe, share. The more, the merrier. And thank you for all the happy birthdays for my birthday's this Friday. And have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And hopefully when I come back, I would have done some Christmas decorating in here and make it look nice. We want a tree. I need a tree and some lights. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.
To our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
We are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.